Good morning, everyone. I'm back and I'm super excited to kind of talk about this purpose of life. So I was running today, doing my 5 miles of my Tuesday, Thursday training. Really had a moment of clarity of why I was training, right? We always have these goals, physical goals. Running a half marathon under 2 hours is my current one. But I was like, why am I doing this? It's hard. It's sometimes not fun. But then I started really thinking about purpose. So what is purpose? And the reason I want to speak to you guys about it, because I think sometimes we kind of lose track of what our purpose is, or maybe we never had a clear defining purpose to begin with. Maybe we took someone's suggested purpose in our life and ran with that and only to find that we're not happy and unfulfilled. And so I really want to just kind of have people think about rethinking what they think their purpose is, or maybe you already know what that purpose is. I know being a doctor was certainly mine. When I was 10, I had an amazing experience when my sister had surgery and got much better when she was 4, and just fell in love with the idea of healing people and found ways to go to medical school with 3 little kids. And I don't believe in coincidences, so it's serendipitous that things happen the way they did, and I was able to go to medical school and had a very supportive husband and my kids. Even with a lot of things that happened. My grandmother lived with us. She had cancer and a stroke while I was in medical school. And yeah, so we had a lot going on. But we made it through and learned a lot from that process. But anyway, back to kind of thinking about purpose. Had some notes here. So, if you think about the clarity, you really want to define what is clarity of purpose, right? So it is a deep, unerring understanding and acknowledgement of what we wish to accomplish and achieve or become in life, right? So it involves setting goals. Maybe it is going to medical school, maybe it is running, maybe it's getting a different job, pursuing a different relationship, passion. Maybe it's walking away from, the security of a job in, let's say, government, and working for that nonprofit that you keep thinking about or always looking at to volunteer. But basically, it's really about providing a sense of meaning in our life, because I think so many of us are going through life and we're struggling and we're like, why are we even here? Like, what is this purpose? Why are we going through this? Why is there suffering and all of that? I love talking about all that, but really, I think if you can find your purpose, those things that are find really hard or that we struggle with to maintain in consistent habits or doing things, the purpose really allows us to find resilience and more power and more strength than we thought we could ever have, right? So, for example, just in reflecting my own life, going through medical school with 3 little kids was really hard. And I think when I think about it, it never dawned on me not to go to medical school. It never dawned on me to quit. It never dawned on me to, set aside that goal, or that it was like a mission, right? It was something that I just had to do. Like, there was no other choice. It's kind of like, you've heard the saying where you go and you set sail and then you land on your new land and you burn the ships because you can't turn around and go back. It was like that. Like, there was no other choice for me. And I really like to think that, I've affected some lives in that journey of becoming a physician and being a physician. But the purpose was very clear for me. I was here to help people, and that needed to be as a doctor, regardless of how hard it was. And it doesn't mean I neglected my duties as a mom or a wife or a granddaughter, taking care of my grandmother. It really just meant that you just had to buckle down and do what had to be done. And I think this is where sometimes we get distracted by conversations around, meet people where they're at, things, just make things as easy as possible. Sometimes it's just going to be hard, and you just got to embrace it. And in the military, it's like embrace the suck. You just embrace it and you just keep going. Because guess what? it gets easier. The hard passes, the easy comes. It's such an amazing thing on the other end of whatever that is. But anyway, getting back to the purpose, that kind of drive is what I'm talking about. That will be where your clear destination, your purpose is. So then when you reach that destination, then you're like, what is the next step in this, right? What is the next evolution of where I am in this journey of fulfilling my purpose, right? So the road to finding our clarity of purpose is really about self-discovery, right? So it's reflection, it's diving deep into what your passions are, what are your values, your strengths, your desires. What do you keep thinking about when you have time to sit down and reflect and meditate on life and think about things? What do your thoughts always bring you, right? And it could be a variety of different things. Maybe it's fashion, maybe it's sports, maybe it's, I don't know, investing in stocks. I don't know. It could be a whole host of things. It could be finances. God bless you who do those, because, yeah, I'm not a big fan of digging into all that. But really is an amazing thing. Maybe it's behavior change. Like for me, it's just so fascinating. But really thinking and sitting down and journaling, writing down, what are these things that I'm always being drawn to? And then really thinking about how you want to fit that into your life. Maybe it's looking for another job. Maybe it's seeking mentorship in that field, or building relationships with people. Maybe you want to be an outdoor guide and go join a hiking club. I don't know, whatever that is for you. I'm really thinking about who you can surround yourself with, or where can you gain experience or plug in to that whole dynamic that you're looking for. So one of my other things that I love to do is to draw. I love to paint and draw. I have sketchbooks. I have every conceivable art supply in my room. And it's funny, though, as I was also reflecting on why is that purpose? Because I've always come back to it. I've even published books with cartoons to help medical students memorize things in medical school. And what's interesting about that was sometimes remember I spoke to resistance yesterday. There's resistance sometimes in pursuing, because I feel like it has to be perfection, right? So that's the other piece of this, is looking at your self-discovery and you see your purpose. Like, you don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to have all those skills. The journey is the big piece here. And, I love to draw, and I feel like I'm a decent artist, but I absolutely have so much more to learn. But there's a piece in my brain that's like, well, I need it to be perfect at all times. So then I have resistance to even sitting down and doodling or drawing or painting something, that even though I may be inspired. And so that's where I'm working on, right, is that whole piece too. And then also understanding that the only person who has expectations and that you're measuring up to is many times just ourselves. So those obstacles that we're thinking, or that resistance, is really self-imposed. And so again, I think, it's just, the journey is really about looking at your different avenues, embracing the challenges, learning from failures, celebrating your triumphs, and just really understanding what brings you true fulfillment and commitment and contentment, right? So if you're finding something is really providing contentment, that is a clue. Look for the clues. And it really has a great impact on well-being. I think so many of us really struggle with anxiety and depression and stress because we're not living our purpose. We're not moving towards our purpose. We're not making decisions based on our values. We're kind of feeling just kind of tossed around like we're in this big ocean and storm, and we just go wherever the wind blows and the waves push us, right? And if we happen to land somewhere, then we just keep on trudging. But we really never sit down to think about, what is this amazing opportunity we have in this parenthesis of time called our lives, between the time we were born and the time we leave this place? What is our purpose? Why are we here? How can I serve others? How can I grow and expand and make this a life well lived? At the end of the day, when you sit on your bed and you're like waiting, like, what are you going to do? So I have some, thoughts on, it really helps mental health. If it helps with physical well-being, increases resilience. And I think ultimately you live a longer and healthier life. If you hear some click-clacking, it's Daisy running to the door because Jonathan just walked in. But there's some strategies to discover and refine purpose, right? So really it's a matter of reflection and introspection, right? So spend some time alone, right? In contemplation, exploring your values, your passions and aspirations. What activities bring you joy and fulfillment? There we go. And what are you naturally good at, right? What is something that you care deeply about, something that people go to you and ask you for advice, right? Next thing would be goal setting, right? Everything has to have something. We have to be being pulled towards something. So establish short and long-term goals and make sure they're aligned with your values and passions. And you want to break them down into small, achievable steps. So for example, I have this goal of running a half marathon under 2 hours. And the reason I want to do this is part of my purpose to show that you can be healthy, eating a healthy plant-based diet into your 50s and achieve things that you thought were impossible in younger years. That really is my purpose. The way I started 3 months ago was just literally starting half a mile, 2-3 times a week, and then building upon that. And now we're running 5 miles twice a week, and this weekend I'll be running 9. So those are the type of goal setting. Really seek inspiration, look for books, nature, art, spirituality, your relationships, speak to others in your life, maybe look to who you admire, look for them for inspiration. Then it's time to experiment and explore, right? Try new activities, meet new people, and you might be surprised going outside of your comfort zone where you might be inspired to try something, or maybe you see something that is a glimmer of like, maybe that speaks to my purpose. Just think about it, and then just sit back and look at the feedback, right? Do some regular feedback. Like this week, how did I go in searching in my purpose? Where did I find my purpose glaring at me? And did I engage with it? So really, and you can also, speak to trusted mentors, friends, spouses, colleagues that you feel comfortable in asking their own feedback for you as if this is your purpose, if they had any thoughts or ideas for you. So, but really, it's just a matter of understanding that sometimes also when we find our purpose, you're going to have to make some tough decisions, right? So maybe you have to change locations, change jobs, change relationships, or habits, lifestyles. And really, you just have to take the courage to do the tough decision and do the work. And I think at the end of the day, that will be a much more rewarding and fulfilling life. So it's an evolving journey, and I'm excited to hear about yours and your purpose. So I'd love to, if you could share with me, what is your purpose on this earth while you're here? And I would love to hear about it and support you in any way I can. So that is all I had to say today. So thanks everyone for listening, and I appreciate it, and have a blessed and wonderful day.